Hey everybody, this is Dan for Gaming on Cars, and today we're taking a look at a 2000 Honda 2000. Now, this car is legendary in the drivers community for being a awesome driver's car. Just spent a little bit of time driving this on the way over here, and it is so sweet. It just fits you like a glove. So today we're going to take a look at this car, at the styling, talk a little bit about the history of Honda cars, and then we're going to get this thing out on the road and give it a GEM score. So let's take a look. So, a little bit of history about roadsters that Honda made. The guy that started the Honda company in the 60s, he started out making a tiny little truck for the Japanese market, plus he also made two little roadsters. Fast forward 40 years. After the concept car was unveiled in 95, this car fully came out in 2000. This is the first year of this model. It's called the AP1. They eventually had an AP2 that was released for 2004. But this was sort of a return to form for Honda, that back in the 60s they made these little roadsters, and then they got into making the Honda Civic, front-wheel drive cars. This was sort of a return to form for Honda. And this car has a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, 240 horsepower, about 150 foot-pounds of torque. This thing will scream, though, all the way to 9,000 RPM. So this car had a product run from 2000 to 2008. Honda doesn't have anything like this car anymore, so I really want to check it out and see how much of a driver's car it is. So the owner of this car, this is his second car. He has a truck, to drive to work every day, but he wants to take this thing autocrossing. He's had a couple of WRXs, but he wants to find a mostly stock S2000. It had a Tanabe exhaust on it, but it's pretty much stock other than that. He's messed with the suspension in the front a little bit, but I don't think you can do much better as a second sports car, so that is what he's going to use this car for. Now, just to talk about the styling of this S2000, it's got really good proportions. It's got sort of like a longer hood, but sort of the small rear overhang. You got 16-inch wheels and tires. Now, this does have a power top. You unlatch the two hooks at the top of the car and it goes down in something like 5 seconds, super quick. We're going to go look at the inside in a minute. But yeah, as far as the design goes, I think it is pretty gorgeous. Now, moving to the front, you've just got simple styling. This is from an era where cars are completely different. I mean, this car is, the only thing it has for driver's aids is ABS. You have no 3-level traction control, nothing like that. But it just is a simple, clean, classic looking car. I would seriously consider this as a second car as well. It's simple looking. You got a nice little S2000 badge right there. That's just to pay homage to the year 2000, around when this car came out. But yeah, there's no fussy lines. The exhaust looks so good in the back. I mean, like I said, that's the only thing that he got this car with. He wanted a mostly stock car, but it just looks good. Now, the AP2s that came out had different looking LED taillights, but that looks pretty good. You don't have much room to put your taillights there, but yeah, the back view. So this is the engine. This is the 2-liter VTEC Honda engine, naturally aspirated, no turbos anywhere. It's something like 240 horsepower, 151 foot-pounds of torque. Now, a cool fact about this engine, that when this first came out in 2000, that it was the most power per liter. This is 2 liters and 240 horsepower, and in the Japanese market the horsepower is a little bit more, but this was something like 124 horsepower per liter, and that held the record for a production car up until one of my favorite cars of all time, the Ferrari 458 came. That was like 125 horsepower per liter, but this car had the record for almost 10 years, which is pretty impressive for a small Honda Roadster. So let's take a look at the inside. Alright, so going to the inside of the S2000, now it sort of fits you like a glove. The steering wheel does not move at all. The seat goes back a little bit, but you really sort of get in and fit very tightly. Now, this car is all about the driver, is very driver centric. You have your HVAC controls right here. This is where your stereo is right there. That is an aftermarket unit. But the stereo controls are over here on the left side of the wheel, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know that any other car has, stereo controls over here. Now we've got a 6-speed manual, and this is one of the shortest shifters I've ever shifted in my life. It is just so sweet and right direct. It falls nicely in your hand. If I have my elbow back here, it feels so nice. Now this car has practically no storage space at all. This is the main storage right here, and there is a little net over here, and that is pretty much it. There's no glove box to speak of. You do have little black leather seats. But yeah, this is the button for the roof right here, and this is one cup holder, and that is all you get. If you're driving this car, you don't care about cup holders. You just want to get in and go. Now this is where the door where the little stereo goes. Now your HVAC controls are nestled right under here. They're just so small. You've got one right there, and these birds will not shut up. But anyway, the other cool thing about this car is the tachometer that is a digital readout that sweeps this way. So if I take the car and turn it on, yeah, now this car is, you know, close to 20 years old, so it rattles a little bit, but not like it's too bad. So yeah, if I just rev it a little bit, you can see how the tachometer goes right there. Now this thing goes all the way up to 9,000 RPM. You've got a digital speedometer right there, which is pretty cool. Now the digital tachometer is a nod to the 80s and 90s when the F1 cars, the McLaren MP4 and 5, I think it was, this had almost exact same tachometer setup. I'll put a picture on the screen. But yeah, this car reminds me of my dad's 1997 Honda Accord that had these exact same controls for the windows and the mirrors and everything. It's really taking me back. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This car is very driver focused. The steering wheel is probably the smallest steering wheel I've ever had in my hands, but it just feels so nice. So yeah, that is the inside of this car. There's not much to it, but you can see how it is a driver's car. So that's pretty much for the interior, but there's not much to this other than the driver-focused controls, but that is what you want in a small, you know, 2-seat roadster sports car. So yeah, let's wrap this up. Now, just to wrap this up before we get this thing out on the road, you know, spend a little time poking through this car, and this is a simple roadster, naturally aspirated, from an era that is not with us anymore. Now we have, you know, 5-step traction controls and a variable drift modes, but this car is not that at all. This is your right foot and a 6-speed manual shifter, which is so sweet. So we're going to take this thing on the road and see what it's like to drive. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.